The Battle of Thermopylae has been very popular since the movie 300, where it was shown that all the Spartan soldiers were exceptional fighters and that they were the best warriors the world has ever seen. They were the only Greek state that stood against Xerxes, etc. Contrary to this, I read something totally opposite. What's the truth about this battle and the Spartan society overall? Look, um the Western world, especially Hollywood and the Americans, they have been obsessed with Sparta for quite some time. Basically, the Western world considers Greece and Rome to be the birthplace of Western civilization, along with, to some extent, Babylon and the Middle East because of the Semitic religions, and to some extent Egypt as well. But mainly, it's Greece and Rome. If you look at the American Express, the logo of American Express, the erstwhile long-term logo, it's that of a Roman centurion or of a Greek hoplite soldier, right? Spartan hoplite soldier. So yes, they've been obsessed with this, and they have. See the movie. I haven't seen the. I think I saw the movie 300. Wasn't a great movie, but yeah, it portrays the Spartans as the ones who stood against the Greeks, which is not really true. It was not actually. The actual composition of that war was 700. So there was an entire Greek army that stood against this invading Persian army that was commanded by their great emperor Kshayarsha, who is called as Xerxes in the West. His real name was Kshayarsha. It's a Sanskrit name. So Kshayarsha invaded Greece, and the Greeks stood against that for some time. And then you had a coalition of 700 soldiers. It was an alliance of Greek city-states that stood against the Greeks. So the main army was sent back to defend Greece, and these 700 men stood and tried to defend this pass, the hot passes, Thermopylae, against the invading Persians as long as they could, in order to buy some time for their main army to organize the defense of the country. So it was essentially a suicide mission. Their intention was to die after defending as long as they could. So this was an alliance of Greek city-states. You had Sparta, yes. The king Leonidas was the commander or the leader of these 700 men, but you had Sparta, you had Arcadia, Corinth, Thebes, Mycenae, Locris, etc. So it was a big alliance, and you had soldiers from all these various city-states. So it was not just Spartans. Historically, Spartans were basically very militaristic, but they were known to retreat from a battle when it was not advantageous to them. So the mythology that has been built up around them is very misleading. They were good strategists. They would retreat and run from a battle if they needed to, if it was suitable for them strategically or tactically, right? And it's interesting that the Persian army also had a very cosmopolitan composition. You had soldiers from Persia, of course, but you had soldiers from Media, from Elam, from Gandhara, from India, as well as from Scythia. So that is also interesting because at that time the Persian Empire did incorporate the westernmost regions or locations of India. So you had Gandharan and Indian soldiers too in the army of Kshayarsha. So it was a very interesting event. I think this battle took place in 480 BCE, and it is not 300. It is approximately 700 men. So it's something that you should all read about because the truth is very different from what has been portrayed in that movie.